Hello, everyone. I'm Alphonse, and I'm here today, and we're going to be interviewing Nick Lujan. And I am just so excited to have you learn a little bit more about him and for him to share his story. But first, Nick, I'm so excited for us to be able to have this time to talk. And, it is really true what they say within the industry is you never know who you're going to meet, and you never know when those doors will open up again. And I was thinking about this, and I know I shared this story with you, but it was back in I think it was 2013. I don't know if
Hmm.
we were in Houston or if we were in New York. I can't remember which show it was, but I was looking for a medium that would glow in the dark. And
Hmm.
I looked over, I saw you, you caught my eye, and I thought, you know what? I bet you he knows what he's doing. I talked to you at Makeup Forever at the time, and I asked you,
Hmm.
and you were just so nice. You were knowledgeable, and you were really professional. And the coolest part about it was that you were really humble. And I thought, wow, that's really cool because that's the kind of energy you hope to experience in our professional arena, and it doesn't
Hmm.
always exist. And I thought, you know what? I hope one day we get to work together. And over the course of the last couple of years, we've had a chance, but now I can't wait for our photo shoot this weekend.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's funny thinking about those days back in the day. I think it was Houston, and I remember it was like having a great conversation, really talking about like technique and layering ingredients, all of these things. Yeah, that's just my vibe. That's the way all of my mentors taught me how to be, so I just kind of adopted it. I think it's my nature. I'm also a nurturer, which is something that I love. I love teaching. I love like hosting that type of stuff, and it all kind of plays in the same field.
Yeah.
You've met. I know you've met my mentors.
Yes, if it
You'll
feels
probably say
good,
the same thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's I think one of the big key components of why we've chosen you as one of our luminaries. First of all, you've been a wonderful supporter and a friend of the brand for so long, and to me, but it is your as an educator and as a makeup artist, you mentor so beautifully, so fluidly. When you educate, every time I listen to you, I learn. Or I was like, oh, I used to do that. I need to go back to that, right? And so it's just always so refreshing. So I thought, you know what? For our audience, they have to meet you, they have to know your story. And I was like, let's just get together and talk.
Awesome. I'm happy to do it. Such an
Cool.
honor.
Thank you. All right. So I made a little list of questions. We're going to kind of go through them. Uh,
Mhm.
First, when did you first see makeup as an art form?
Oh my gosh. So I'm a child of the 90s, born in the 80s, but really lived the 90s. And that was the era of like the supermodel and all of these
Yes.
crazy, beautiful styles of makeup coming out at once, and then quirky techniques that just pop up out of nowhere. So it was like an amalgamation of artistry. And I really just found it in magazines, TV shows, things like that. I was like, you can do makeup as an art. Up until that point, I had done a little bit for theater in high school, and that was kind of what got me started. And then Halloween. I think most makeup artists that I've ever met, Halloween is their holiday because
Yes.
we don't get to just make up other people. We also like to dress up, right? Um, I think that kick started a love for makeup. And then I took a long break from makeup. I went to culinary school, which
Oh,
also I
wow.
love to cook. I have my culinary degree. And while I was cooking for an opera company, I fell in love with music. So I wanted to be an opera singer, went to music school, became an opera singer. I sang for
Wow.
60 years. And that whole time I was doing makeup for the productions that I was in. So I was putting on all these characters and personas. Um, yeah.
That's
So like,
amazing. Okay, that first of all, just in that little bit. So you have a degree in culinary, right?
mhm,
You're a cook, chef,
mhm.
chef,
Yeah, either one. Cook is
and
probably better now. I'm out of practice.
then an opera singer.
Yeah, I have an opera degree and a vocal performance degree from University of New Mexico. And the time, so this kind of marries all of our conversation, I think, all together, kind of. So I got my start in the 90s, just being inspired by seeing all those makeups. I think who really set me in motion, or the moment that something really clicked, was in the year 2000 when I saw Kevin O'Quan on the Oprah Winfrey Show. I had never seen really a man doing makeup. I didn't know it was like a full-on profession,
Sure.
other, just kind of glancing at it.
Mhm.
Um, this person was humongous, larger than life, and just was doing the most incredible artistry. So I was like, okay, that's who I want to be. That's what I want to do. And while I was doing opera, I was also doing drag, which also influenced so much for makeup. It was like a magical moment to transform your character, your person, the way you look on the outside, and then step on stage and just present as something else. It's very freeing. It's like a superpower, you just get to be free. Do whatever you want, imitate whoever you want, be a monster, be a creature. That was always my thing. I would do like one beautiful number and then one creature that was just wild off the wall. I'll have to show you pictures when I'm in
Oh.
San Francisco. Um, but yeah, that Kevin O'Quan, and then you know what? I wanted to work at Mac, and I applied like 14 times, and they would not hire me. Not 14 times, I'm exaggerating. It was like 3 times.
Okay.
But they're like, "Who's this boy? We've never really had a boy working here." I think there was only one other boy in the cosmetics area in like fragrance or something. So I was like, I want to do this. So I showed up one day after my second time that I had talked to them, and they didn't call me as a drag queen. I was like, I really want to work here. I was dressed as a Hooters girl, Alphonse. But I got the job.
I hope so.
Yeah. So like the story of all of those things has kind of formed my artistry. It's informed my artistry because I was more of an artistic, creative person before I became the glam, clean, like no makeup beauty artist. I
Sure.
did it backwards from what most people do, I think.
You did it backwards. I think it's amazing. Just sitting here, I didn't realize you and I both shared our Kevin O'Quan really was a huge inspiration for me and for so many makeup artists that we know. I'm looking and I'm like, oh, that was my ode to
I
Kevin
was gonna say, I see the influence in there. It's beautiful.
completely. So it was like my interpret. But when I think about him, he was an amazing individual that, like you said, larger than life, loved the industry, loved people.
Mhm.
And I was fortunate enough to work with him, and he was the kindest
Mhm.
person. He was so
Mhm.
sharing. So I can see why you followed in his footsteps. So it's actually perfect.
Yeah, I had so many parallels between him and me. My parallels were a lot smaller mountains to climb, but just hearing his story, getting to know his family and friends, and interviewing people that have worked with him along the way, I've learned a lot about his character and like how he was brought up. And seeing the films, talking to the film director, and you know, small towns, small minds, machismo, all of these things in the Southwest. And then to be a boy working at a makeup counter, I would go full beat to work every single day. And all the young drag queens would come visit me. One of them, you'll know, I'll talk about him later, my friend
Okay.
Alex.
All right,
But
perfect.
yeah, they would come visit me at the Mac counter and buy like their one eyeshadow that they would save up all their money for. And I was the boy there with the hot pink eyeshadow and the crazy colorful lipstick, selling it to them. And then these like old ladies would come in and talk to me all the time. I have clients that I've had forever and ever. Like when they'd go to Vegas to visit me and they'd be like, here's my first face chart that you ever made for me, because I used to make a face chart for each client so they could
Sure.
remember the look. That was the thing back then. It was like a requirement of the job.
You did a
Um,
face. Yep.
every client walked away with a face chart, and through all those years and like Mac supporting me and my clients showing up for me and making my sales goals and all that stuff, it really put me on a new trajectory. I ended up quitting opera to move to Las Vegas to do makeup for
Wow.
Mac.
That's cool. Very cool. So,
Yeah.
your story goes on. We'll get to that part, but that is that's already an amazing. I said here that I feel like you're an artist that anything you put your mind to, that you do it to its fullest. You always excel at whatever you do. And that's what I see of you. And I just think it's so
Mm.
amazing. And good for you. I mean, that's just your beginning. And you still have
Yeah.
a, a, a full story to tell here. So we're
Oh
going
my
to get to
gosh.
the next one.
I talk too much.
No, it's all good. I know our audience loves reading this.
Your editors are going to have fun with this.
Oh, they will. That'll be good. When I think about your work, I've seen you do makeup on stage where, of course, you do beautiful, beautiful, clean makeup that gives that dimension. I've also seen you take someone and turn them into a faun. I think it was at Providence Town. And it just like
Mhm.
transformed like that in front of our eyes, and it was beautiful. And when I look at your other work, the work from your portfolio, when I think of your work, one of my favorite stories that you did what was the mermaids? And
Oh,
it's just really like I look at that, sometimes like you see someone's work and you're like, oh, I wish I would have done that, or I wish I could have done that, or something like that. Not to say my skill level is yours, but it's one of those stories that draws you in.
hmm.
I was just like, that is such a beautiful, beautiful piece that you did. And the photographer, Amber Gray, I think I got to see her speak at the makeup show in New York, and she's one of those visionary geniuses. And I can
Hmm.
only imagine both of you together and her team, what that was
Oh
like.
my gosh, the team was amazing. Yeah.
Share what it's like to be on, to work collectively with like
Yeah.
all these visionaries.
So she comes to us with this like wild concept, and like a few like images for inspiration, those kinds of things, and then we just kind of all throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what's gonna stick. Then we have wardrobe and styling, and she does a lot of the styling herself, her and her assistant. They pull pieces, they have this full vision of what they want. Um, and I see the costumes, I see the hair, all of these things. So this is definitely influenced by a geisha. So I wanted to do my geisha makeup. I've always loved that style of makeup and have practiced it millions of times. And finally got to put it to use for a shoot that it made sense.
Amazing.
you know you
Yeah.
practice everything all the time. That's how you kind of figure out, at the last minute, how to work with stuff quickly.
Yes.
It's kind of all rehearsed in some form or another, whether it was teaching somebody or just practicing on myself, just to get to know the formulas. Then you get there and you're like, okay, I see what they're doing and I want to add to this. How can I do it? And just kind of pull from that Rolodex.
And good thing you had that a little bit of that practice, that play, that time to study because then you have that in your arsenal to pull it
Hmm.
out, which is
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very blessed. I worked at Makeup Forever for a long time, where I did like face painting, body painting, all that stuff.
so. Nick, tell us about your creative body painting because when I look at that work that you do, I always say that's really next level art. It's one thing to do beauty makeup on the face, but on the body, it's amazing. And one, how did you learn that skill set? And then yeah, tell us that. How did you learn that skill set?
Yeah. So, body painting, it's just a humongous canvas, and the best part of it is that, like, you see everything come to life. Your models are bringing your work to life, and if you vibe with the model's energy, I worked with a lot of the same models in the past because I like their energy, I like their performance skill set. I could tell them what the painting was about, and they would emulate it through their muscles and their movements. It was a lot of fun. So I've always been a fan of art. In high school, I was in all the art classes, working with all the different mediums. And then once you transfer that to the human body, you just have to find like the formulations, the ingredients that are safe to use, the pigments that are safe to use, but the same textures is what you would do on canvas.
That's
And the only way to learn that is to get your hands on every product. And at the time, I was working for a company, Makeup Forever, and that was their focus: artistic products, body painting, beauty makeup, special effects, everything, which is where the brand started. So I had the pleasure of learning from Danny Sands herself, the creator of that brand, and one of her former students who's become a good friend, Florianne David. And they showed me the fundamentals. Like, here's all the mediums that we can play with. You've got watercolors, oil paint, loose pigments and powders, things that you can mix and create with, and showed me each and every product, how to blend with it, what the ingredients were, which products would layer over it the best. And we would do it just as practice sessions on our arms, and they would throw different themes at us and we'd practice. It felt like going to makeup school,
I
but
was
it
going
was
to
like really personalized.
personalize. Well, I think right time, right place, you earned that opportunity, but
Mm-hmm.
could not have learned from the best. Today, if someone was interested in learning how to do body painting,
Mm-hmm.
Are there places you would recommend them to
You know
look?
what? That's a challenge. I'm not too familiar with any of the schools that are actually doing body painting. The more artistic schools like Mud would have done it, like Makeup Forever Academy, if you want to go out of the country, would do it. They find it as an important part of the curriculum. It's different from like an aesthetic school. You
Sure.
have to find a makeup school that's specific and look
And
at
it's
the
very
curriculum.
specialized. It's a very,
Yeah,
very specialized uh,
yeah.
um,
Look at the curriculum, and if it's something that you want, ask them, do you guys also teach this or know somebody that does? Because the schools have a lot of resources too.
sure.
Um, and then figure out how to work with the products. Ask, go online. You can always DM me on Instagram. It's Nick Lujan Artistry, and ask me, like, here's my vision. What do I want to create? What do I want to use to create this? What products? Because learning how to use those products is challenging. If you've ever worked with a cake makeup like chroma cake or wet makeup or aqua color, or the Mara, the Paradise paints, each one has their own characteristics and works and performs differently.
And
The
you have to
concept of how to use it's the same,
yeah.
but the amount of water you use is different. Some of them you can play with the amount of water to get opacity. One of them, I think it's Paradise. You add one little drop of water and it's incredibly opaque from the very get-go. Like I like the Makeup Forever ones because they didn't have a lot of sheen to them. They were truly, truly matte, so
Mm,
they were easier for me to blend. And I treated them like watercolors.
that's cool. So, what if I think about your work that you've done with Mike Ruiz? He's such an amazing photographer. And
Mm-hmm.
when I look at some of that work, I know your work's been published in, of course, On Makeup Magazine, but some of those pieces truly are just amazing. It's breathtaking. And my thought is like, how do you begin to get ready for a job like that where it's one thing to say, I'm going to do pink eyeshadow and nude lips, but to do a full body, because time is still of the essence.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those body paintings take like just a few hours, like 2 to 3 hours. Some of them have taken me 5 hours. I have to have assistance sometimes.
Mm.
Um, Working with Micro Weiss is wild. It's an adventure because he kind of like just throws a bunch of stuff at the wall and says, "Go, do whatever you want." He's like, "Here's how we're gonna shoot it. Here's the backdrop. Do whatever you want," basically. So, and then it doesn't, it helps, but it doesn't help at the same time to have the male models that are all muscly because they're humongous.
Right.
That takes more time to paint, but that's what he likes to shoot with me, and I'm not complaining. Believe me, just give me a little more time. Um,
Just make sure you bring extra paint.
Extra paint,
Always
extra
extra
paint, and an
paint.
assistant. Yeah,
And assistant.
yeah. So he'll give me the concept, and then I'm just like in my brain, what do I want to do? And I love to play with texture. So I'll do like something like a Rorschach painting or like fun blends of gradients of colors with different textures, things like that. I don't do more of the more realism stuff, but one thing that I do keep in mind with him and with everything I do is that knowing where to place like the light and shadow to accentuate the muscles of the body. I feel like it's like you contour a face to make the cheekbones look higher. You contour the breast to make the breast look even and higher. You contour the abs to make them more dimensional, and you just use it in different colors and textures, or just the placement of where the reflection will happen.
Oh, you mean those abs weren't real? Oh, I feel so
No,
much.
they were real, but I pushed them even further
I'm sure.
by adding shadow and light and glitter.
Now, would you practice some on yourself or on friends before the shoot?
Oh my gosh, yes, I would practice on myself all the time. My legs, my arms, my face, anybody I could get my hands on. I was working with students, so a lot of times students would just volunteer, like, and I would just spend some time just kind of practicing. At Makeup Forever, we had mannequins to practice on. I
That's
did a
cool.
lot of sketches. I have books of all my body charts and face charts from the years. They're thick. They're so much fun. It's like a little library. It's really cute, and I can pull from them. Like if I have a client that's like, "Oh, I want to see what we can do," just show them the different pages of all the sketches I've done. It's fun.
It's like making your own reference material. It's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you've worked with so many legendary makeup artists in this industry. And what would you say, what's like a memorable moment? I mean, there's so many over a course of time, right? But what's something that like you hold near and dear?
Oh my gosh. So, every story has its moments, but I think there's two that have really stood out to me because I never thought in a million years that I would work with these people. And it was when I was able to work on Black is King, assisting Rafael Lizama, and he had a huge team of artists all over the country, all over the globe, wherever they were filming. Basically, he had to find artists. I didn't when I did this job, when I did the interview for the makeup, they said, please go to this place and you're going to do a body paint, and then we'll tell you about it later. Like I didn't really know who I was doing it for. They just wanted to see my work.
Hmm.
So they took me to the space, provided all these models, and I did these looks based on what they told me. And then they hired me, and they're like, okay, we're going to hire you. It was interesting. It was very DL. It's for a big project that Beyonce's working on, and you're going to be assisting, with Rafael and doing body painting. And within like 5 hours, I had to call every pro store in the city to get all the products I needed
Thanks.
because the limousine was picking me up at my apartment at like 11 p.m. to go to wherever they were shooting.
For that little video shoot with what's her name, Beyonce, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And
That
then
was
they didn't
that was
tell us where we
amazing.
were going. Like it was hush hush. It was a lot of fun.
Sure.
And then I was on set for like 3 days. Um, in the place we were filming, and then in the city they brought me back to do some more stuff in the city too. It was a lot of fun.
That's an amazing
Yeah.
experience. That
I still
really,
get goosebumps when I watch it. Like when I hear the music. Yeah, it's wild.
that's a great.
That's a big, huge highlight, something I never thought would happen. And then the other is getting to work. I remember earlier when we were talking about working at the makeup counter and the drag queens coming to see me to buy their one eyeshadow. One of them was Alex Mayo, who's Lizzo's makeup artist.
Yes.
He and I are really good friends. He grew up in Albuquerque. Like I was doing drag, and then he wanted to learn how to cover his brows. So him and some friends came over, and I taught them how to cover their eyebrows. And he just blew up as a makeup artist, fell in love with makeup, and had his own story, going to Mac and all of these places, and connected with Lizzo. So when he comes to New York City, he always hits me up just to say hi. And then when he needs assistance, like to work with the backup girls, he'll pull me in either as like a lead artist or to help kind of just manage and wrangle the team and get things done. And it's so much fun. There's the best energy. It's like electrifying to be back there with them.
That's amazing. That is great. Well, you've got some great moments, and I'm sure many more to come. Um, so, Nick, in addition to being a makeup artist, you're truly an amazing educator. And as I said, I learn always from you. I see people, light bulbs go off in people's mind and the audience when they watch you. But what's something that you've learned from your mentor that you always share forward?
Oh my gosh. So educating, it's always been a passion of mine. And it was like, I never knew I was going to be an educator. It just kind of goes with the territory. I think it was from watching so many cooking shows growing up and watching QVC. Like I have that energy in me. Like here's how we do it, here's the order of application, all of these things. But I think all my mentors have given me so much amazing, incredible like feedback and coaching throughout the years. One of my favorite mentors, she's a friend tour, is Elijah Stewart. She was a luminary last year. She and I have worked together since 2007. We were work husband and wife. We would just change roles all the time. Sometimes she was in charge, and then sometimes I was in charge, as management and stuff. And she's coached me because she's amazing on camera. She's an incredible, unbelievable artist. She's a creative mind that can just come up with some of the coolest stuff ever. I love assisting her and I love working with her. But yeah, she's given me some of the best tips over the year. And I think one of the things is just always like use your eye. Look at the placement of light on the face when you're doing your makeup and you're looking at the lighting in the room. Like paint for that lighting so that the shadows go in the right places and they enhance the features. And she's like showing me on camera, on monitor all the time. I was on monitor. She put me on monitor. She's hardcore. So if I miss something, I get in trouble. She's like, look at the lashes, make sure they're all combed the same direction.
Right.
Make sure that there's no patches in the liner. Like look at the brow hairs and make sure that things are filled in correctly. Like, and I would be on the monitor while she's on stage fixing the model's face and be like, okay, left eyebrow, one hair out of place, fill it in, like, that detailed. So like those details make a big difference, especially when you're investing a lot of money in a campaign or a video shoot or something.
You can't, I think we come from the generation where you just don't rely on retouching.
Yeah,
Every little detailed
yeah,
matter.
yeah,
And I love Liza.
yeah.
In addition to all of that, she's just a good person. You feel it
Oh
when
my
you're
God,
with
yeah.
her. Was so honored. We got to work with her a few years back when we launched the Esom color line. She was one of our luminaries, and working with her in set was just brilliant. I was nervous.
Mm-hmm.
She's so talented and so down to earth. And then at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, she made everything so fast and so effortless. I remember
Mm-hmm.
thinking, I'm glad I'm not doing makeup next to her right now because I would be nervous. But she
Mm-hmm.
was just amazing. She's a wonderful
Yeah.
person. That
Yeah.
part.
My favorite saying of hers is it doesn't have to be perfect, but it should probably just be perfect.
Oh, I love that. That's a good
She's a
one.
Virgo. She's a Virgo. And she's like,
Balance.
we don't want to spend a lot of money on retouching, so you better get this shit right,
Yeah, just
basically.
make sure it's right, exactly. So, not that long ago, you added an aesthetic license to
Yep.
your skills.
Hmm.
Uh, and I remember when you were starting to talk about that on social media. Um, Talk about that. What has that
Yeah,
done for you as an artist?
yeah, it's different. I mean, it was like a fork in the road moment. Like you have to do something different, get something else under your belt. And I've been doing makeup for years, and I know that people struggle with their skin. And when you do makeup as a makeup artist and someone has trouble skin, how do I manage that? How do I work with that? What tips can I give them? How can we fix that? So like that was a big driving force as to why I wanted to go to school. I think more and more it helps to have your license because a lot of places to work are requiring it. You want to work at Mac, you want to do makeup at Sephora, you want to work. Those were my school of how to do makeup, working in those places.
Sure.
I worked in all the cosmetics lines and all the cosmetic stores all over the U.S. And that was my school. But now they require an aesthetics license, so I would be proactive and start working on that as well. It's only going to boost what you have as a skill set and what you can offer your clients. Now I can offer packages like, let me do your facials for your big day. What's the event? When are we doing it? How can we get your skin in optimum condition so that we don't have to do so much coverage? We can show
Sure.
your skin. I love it when my clients are getting those compliments that are like, wow, your skin is beautiful, instead of saying your makeup is beautiful, which I love both compliments, believe
Sure.
me. But when someone says the skin is like gorgeous, that feels so good. So like people come to me for weddings and we'll book them a package. Sometimes I do the makeup. Sometimes I hand off the makeup to somebody else. I'm really into skin right now. It's my biggest focus.
Love that.
Um, I'm 43 myself, so I have to do what I can for my skin. So I'm like, let's do this all together.
Look, we gotta pull at every stop. That's all good.
Yeah, yeah. And there's nothing better than a freshly dermaplaned face to do makeup on. The makeup's gonna go on like butter on hot toast.
Butter on hot toast. I like that. That's good. Perfect. Um, so my next question is, barring from the grandmother of them all, from RuPaul, what advice would you give to a young Nick, right? If you could take a step back in time about your career.
Yeah, yeah. I think I was afraid to be creative. I think because I was so different in the place where I grew up, and like you kind of hold back a little bit at
Sure.
that time. So I think if I was just like, I see all these drag queens now, I'm like, oh my God, I could have done that stuff back then. Like I had that energy in me. I just was holding it back. So I think letting that out would have made me so much even more creative than I am today. And I think that's one piece of advice I give is just full out be creative. Don't hold back your artistry. Don't be afraid of it. Just go for it.
Embrace who you are, right? Embrace who you are and
Exactly.
let it
The
out.
other thing I would say is get get on the social media bandwagon sooner. I hated it and was so resistant to it. It took me forever just to create a MySpace, and it took me even longer to do an Instagram. And now I have three Instagrams. I'm out of control.
That's okay.
I
That's okay.
have mine, my dog, and my aesthetics one. So I have a couple.
Um,
Yeah, but now I love social media. Oh my gosh, these youngsters and these artists are so creative and so
They really are.
inspirational. Yeah, I learn a lot just from looking at their work and studying it and like, okay, how did they do that? Break it down.
Exactly. Well, so what's next for Nick?
Oof. Right now, I am open to all roads. I am like, whatever comes my way. I'm lucky to work at a place that allows for me to do that. I work as a trainer for company called Glowbar full time. So I train all the new incoming estheticians on our practices and what Glowbar is and how to do 30-minute facials. So now, once again, I'm an educator, just in a different place.
Mhm.
And my boss and my team are so cool. They love when I can express myself. So I'm like, hey, I have these opportunities to work with ESOM, and I really would love to do it. And they're like, yeah, let's make it happen. Let's work around
So
it, figure it
important.
out. Yeah, so
So
it's a
important for
really
the
great
arts.
place to be.
That really
I'm
is.
very
And
lucky.
then, and we have our next big trade show, the makeup show.
Yeah.
Of course, you're an educator there. You do amazing classes and seminars there. Talk a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk about the makeup show. I've been with them for over 10 years. Even though I was with brands at first, Shelly has really loved me throughout the years, and James, and they've always included me in everything. So they're like family at this point. Um, and it was kind of natural once I decided to step away from the corporate side of makeup and focus on skin. They're like, "Hey, we want you. Can we get you? When can we get you? How can we use you?" And they've used me on different shoots and things like that, and they've always put me in the show as an educator. And I love speaking on behalf of more than just one brand. Now I get to talk about all the brands.
That's great.
It's really fun. And now I'm teaching classes not just on makeup, but on skincare. So I'm teaching my first full hands-on skincare at the Makeup Show New York. It's a full seminar. We're going to do some different massage techniques, prepping skin, all that stuff. So
That's
it's going to be
amazing.
fun.
Ah, I wish I could sit on that one. I see like you, I've seen you and Aga, you get behind and you start going with those fingers. And I'm like, lymphatic drainage, like, what is that? I'm not an esthetician, but I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, what's that magic you're doing? But I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, Nick, thank you so much for taking the time and for speaking with us and sharing your truth and sharing your story. I know that I always find you inspirational. I'm sure that our audience will as well. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I can't wait to see you soon.
I'll see you this weekend. Have a good one. Thanks,
Take
Nick.
care.
Bye.
Thank you.